dinner meals are usually quite different, and finding some inconsistencies week over week with your nutrition, it's likely because the meal planning strategy is not working. And so I'm here to talk about how to meal prep at home, how to meal prep on trips, and how to stay consistent in your GPS nutrition plan. So, first and foremost, if you're at home, one of the easiest ways to meal prep is to prep things in bulk. Now, we certainly can't cook too much food because it'll spoil. But if we want to look at about 4 days out and prep all of the meat, have plenty of salad and vegetables, and then your carbohydrates, making sure you've got plenty. About 4 days, that's a really good window before things start to taste awful. Trust me, I've tried to meal prep longer, it just doesn't work. So, as far as meal prepping, when you find something that can work, when you're looking at your greens, your proteins, and your carbohydrates, then it becomes very easy if you look at, well, how do I cook the base of it? Instapots or pressure cookers, they are fantastic ways to cook your chicken in bulk and even vegetables like green beans. If you've found something that you think day in and day out, it's something you're not going to have any problem at all eating for lunch and dinner, that's ideal. And in the bodybuilding days, that's exactly what I did. It made it so much easier to have as many of the meals be as the same as possible. And then what you do to liven up the meal is you can put salsa frescas on top. You can put sauces that are low in sugar. You can create a curry. And that's exactly what I have done is for years, I vary the type of curries that I'll have. Why curry? Well, curry is fantastic for keeping insulin low. And the whole GPS nutrition sequence that I have my clients do, which is to eat greens first and then proteins, and then to start moving into carbohydrates. This whole plan is to keep insulin at bay. The more we keep insulin surrounded around our meals, the more predictable you'll find that the body starts to move fat into the bloodstream. And a lot of that's because that consistency, your body doesn't like to be in a deficit, doesn't like to be dieting, and it's trying to find homeostasis. And so if you can eat something consistent and elevate your greens, that lowers your stress hormone in the body, or in other words, it lowers the body's acidity if you've looked much into your pH balance and your acidic levels. And you're going to be able to mobilize fat much easier day in and day out. So I've found curries to be the best for not just me, but for my family too. So what I'll do is I'll use an Instapot and I'll fill it with a little bit of water. Then I'll put some garlic in it. I'll put onions, which is a prebiotic. And then I like to put in some yams to help sweeten the sauce. So I'll take a yam and cut it up into small cubes because I plan to mix it all together. And then I found a couple of different curry sauces and curry powders that I love. And then I'll put in about 5 pounds of chicken and push start. It takes 45 minutes 45 minutes. It takes 5 minutes to make and about 45 minutes until it's ready. So this is something that at 11 o'clock, if you know lunch is coming, if you're in a rush and you're panicked to get your meal made because the last 4 days of food is gone, it is so easy to cook in a meal in an Instapot. And this is what I would suggest before you do anything. Even before using a barbecue to grill your meat and to take all the time baking, that is not sustainable. But what is sustainable is to use an Instapot. And that's the brand, but it's a pressure cooker. Now, another alternative is there are a lot of solutions these days with meal prep services because of a principle called economies of scale, where the more there is of something, the lower price that someone can charge for it to make a decent margin. We live in a world where there's so many meal prep services, it's lowered the price for consumers. And so you can get a meal for as low as $6 a meal, I've found, a real quality meal. Happy to share some places if you're interested in looking. Even to the extent that if you just want meats taken care of, there are companies that cook and cut up your meat and it's delivered to your house. It's absolutely the best time ever to get your nutrition dialed in. Now, when you're on a holiday, there are likely grocery stores everywhere. And if you're staying in like an Airbnb, then you may consider bringing a pressure cooker. No, I'm only kidding. But when you're on vacation, looking at meals that you can have at the house, and then looking at meals where the majority are consistent to what you're typically having at home is going to be really, really key. And so if the meals are at the house, a couple things that are really easy to make, having rotisserie chickens, and then there are a lot of packets that are rice packets if you're finding that rice is the most sustainable for you. You can buy these rice packets that you put in the microwave. And if you don't like doing the microwave, you can just heat it up on a stove with water for 90 seconds. It's super fast. And again, we live in a time where rice packets are so delicious, and there's so many convenient ways to make it. And so if you buy your greens, you can buy mixed greens on vacation. There are what are called broccoli slaws that have a mix of fiber. And we want high fiber greens when we eat greens first, and then protein, and then carbohydrates, because the fiber is going to effectively lay this bed in our digestive tract that then the protein and the carbohydrates sit on top. And as the digestion process happens and we have the breakdown of this nest of fiber, the molecules, everything breaks down into a molecule. These molecules of protein and carbohydrates start to filter through this filtration system. And your greens will also act as a binder, because we cannot digest fiber, to pull things out of the body that probably shouldn't be digested. So it's good for pulling out toxins, and greens help enable GLP-1s and incretins, which is a huge weight loss fad. If you want sustainable GLP-1s and incretin and leptin, which is the stop eating hormone, everything that people are getting in these weight loss shots, greens first is the way to do it. And again, a way to bring your body's acidity down. So on vacation, mixed greens, broccoli, there's bags of broccoli that are cut up, there's broccoli slaws, and then rotisserie chicken. Eggs are a really easy thing. Again, if this is at Airbnb, and then you've got rice packets. Now, if you're with a family, then yeah, just multiply that. If not, restaurants, all you do is just type in the Google search, healthy food near me. And in most cases, because of the day and age we live in, it will pull a lot of the healthiest restaurants that typically have greens and typically have high protein and quality carbohydrates. And why do we want carbohydrates? Because carbohydrates help us to absorb a lot of the vitamins and minerals from our meals. So it is just absolutely critical. And there are a lot of other reasons that we'll get into in another episode. So at home, Instapot, if you're on the go, type in healthy food near me, and then look for protein bowls or salad and greens emphasized places. And then keep in mind that if you're also on the go, and let's say you're in a conference, if you're at a conference, the simple things to do if you're at the conference is to simply DoorDash. And again, typing in protein bowls and healthy food, it's just so easy to receive convenient food these days. So I hope these tips have been helpful. The thing is to find a meal that you absolutely love. It's so critical to be excited about what you eat, and then to eat greens first, protein second, and then the carbs at the end. Now, that's also including your sweets. If you're wanting a sweet at any point of the day, batch that with your meals, because again, insulin can either become a silent productivity killer, so the rest of your day you have crashes and you deal with insulin spikes and crashes, which then put your body into that same influx. Or you can batch your insulin with a meal. That GPS order will make sure you don't have to release as much insulin. And that sequence of GPS will also help your food to become even more time released, so you have even more energy throughout the day. If you have any questions about how to prep specifically for your meal plan, I hope that you'll reach out. All of this is to help you elevate how you're optimizing your life so you can live the best life day in and day out. All right, that said, make it a great day.